I think one of the big challenges also is that while those of us who are immersed in this work and in the field, uh, we have a great deal of comfort in how we talk about and discuss the intersection of race and racism on a system of public education that has not necessarily been responsive to that. And so, like Joshua and I, we talk weekly, right, or daily sometimes even about these issues. And we have to, I think, move into a space as educators and education leaders, not just in the Commonwealth, but nationally, where we can experience the discomfort that comes from having honest and authentic conversations about race and racism and how it is manifesting systemically within our public education system. And having, growing to understand what does it mean to be anti-racist, to understand that, there are, I think people tend to think of racism as individual acts by individual people, when in fact, racism manifests itself in systemic ways that are never really evidenced in the acts of individuals, right? You have to look at the implications and the outcomes. And so I think just getting us all to sort of have a shared understanding of what does that mean. We've been working really hard with our partners across the state to foster this shared understanding of what does equity mean beyond a philosophical standpoint, right? Because it feels good to say equity, but what does that actually mean when it comes down to rethinking deploying resources in a way that is more equitable, understanding sort of the difference between fairness and equity. While there must be fairness for there to be equity, there is not always fairness when it comes to equity, right? If you equate fairness to equality, those aren't the same thing. And so there's some real nuance to the nomenclature and the language that I think we all need to coalesce and agree upon for us to really scale impact.
My favorite thing you said, Leah, is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And as someone in the field of education who is white, and helping others who are white help to realize what white privilege means and the structural system of white supremacy and how it plays out in our schools is so critical. And just the idea of becoming an anti-racist is not so much just to be, I'm not racist. What are you doing to actually be anti-racist? And so that's going back to what our office does, is provide those trainings and those facilitated conversations to help people really understand that from their perspective and meet people where they're at in terms of moving an organization and really a system forward to address that racism, which is a systemic issue.